So it's a new day, as you can see, and I have no idea where I left off on the other thoughts, but I know that it was close to the end of chapter 3, and so I'm just going to pick up where I think I left off and continue on through chapter 4. And I wrote notes down so that I don't ramble too much, because you know I do that. So the first thing I have written here is we want to fix everything. When we fix everything, it makes life harder later. Yes, of course. If you don't let your children experience failure and letdowns and discouraging things and things not going how they want them to go, then later when they're in the real world, it's going to be awful because that's life. And it's better to teach them to give and give. Oh, no. It's better to teach them gratitude and contentment as the response to all those difficult things that are inevitable in our life, right? I'm trying to think of an example. I didn't think of anything. I don't know, but today we ran 3 different errands today, and all 3 places had candy. And I told the boys yes at the first one, and they still asked at the second and third. I'm like, why? You already had candy. And we told them no, both times, and they know. They hear no often enough to just deal with it. But I just thought it was funny that they would ask again. It's like they think, let me test, let me keep testing. Even though I know that they say no, and even though I know we already had some, because we're in front of people, they might say yes. And it's like, you're going to keep testing it, and you're going to keep being disappointed because we're sticking to what we said, I love what she talked about, serving others with our kids. Yes, if there's an opportunity to serve others with your kids. In fact, before I read this chapter, I had just added to one of our days of our week, bless someone. So this week we cooked dinner together for a couple at our church that we're taking meals to as the church body. And it was just so wonderful because it became so much more than just making dinner. Then they wanted to make her a card, and they wanted to decorate it, and they wanted to, give them apples. And it was just fostering a spirit of giving and selflessness and excited to bless others, and that only comes from demonstrating that, and letting them feel a little bit the joy of giving, how wonderful it is. And today's my mom's birthday, and we went to shop for her gift yesterday. And it was sweet to just hear them talking about, I can't wait to surprise her, And it was just an opportunity for me to say, isn't it so great to bless others? Isn't it? I mean, of course it's nice to receive, but it's such a blessing. And we hear that cliche all the time. It's better to give than to receive. But there's truth to it. I think that we're the most unhappy when we're thinking about all the stuff we want that we don't have. And we're happier when we're thinking on how we can love others and serve others. So, I'm still rambling, even though I'm trying not to. So serve others with your kids instead of giving them more and more and more, because, right, like she said, we think giving them more is going to make them happy, but really it's going to make them less happy. We should be modeling and teaching gratitude and contentment. So we don't want to just tell our kids, be grateful, be thankful for what you have. We want to model that. And the whole everyone's a winner thing is so annoying. Yeah, I totally think that is hilarious. I know she used sports as the main example of that, but I think that just skills, abilities, things that they want to do, pursue, it may be instruments, of course, sports, even just little things like drawing and handwriting and whatever, anything, riding your bike, speed when you're running, your running speed, all of those things are how good of a swimmer you are, opportunities for them to see there's always somebody better, there just is. And I tell my kids that all the time, The American Idol example cracked me up because, yeah, who doesn't think, oh, why didn't your mama tell you before you went on the show? And then something else I teach them, I tell them, there's always somebody better than us, but they're good at some things. And so I teach them, who made you good at that? God. No matter how you slice it, God is the one that gets all the glory. Never is it us or you or anybody. And if we are boastful, it's so ugly. But if we're good at something and humble about it, giving the Lord the glory, it's so beautiful. They talked a little bit about self-esteem. We want confident kids, right? But we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. The whole child-centered home thing, it's a lie from Satan to make people think that if you center your world and your life around children, your children, that they're going to have good self-esteem. I may not know much about parenting because I've only been a mother for 8 years, but I really think that at least one of the things that are really, really strong and powerful when it comes to self-esteem and really aids in building a child's self-esteem, if that's even something we want to be building, I don't know. I would rather my child know I am a wretched human in desperate need of a savior, and so God save me, and then I will live for you. That's what I would think I would rather, but I can't be so extreme. We can know that and also be confident at the same time. And like, I know that I'm a wretched person, sinful to the core, but God saved me, and he showed me that I am evil, born in sin, and needed him. And so I know that, but I also am a confident person. And looking back at my childhood, I was raised in a non-believing home with absolutely no biblical role models whatsoever in my entire life till I was 17 or 18. How did I grow up to be confident, right? I don't know, but one of my theories, and there might be some truth to this, and I'm sure there's a lot more, is that I knew I was loved. I knew that my mom loved me, and I knew that she thought I was great. She liked me also. She didn't just love me, feed me, take care of me because she had to. She liked me. And so I wonder how much weight there is in that. As a parent, we want our children to know we love them, but we want them to know that we like them. We like them. We think they're awesome. And I think that builds confidence. I look at my children, and they're not like public speakers or anything, and they get shy with strangers and stuff like that. But when I watch them, I look for this too, because I know my failures. And I think, oh, am I messing them up? Am I hurting them? So I'm observant, like, how are they carrying themselves? How are they communicating to us? How are they acting at home? And I'm so thankful to the Lord, because only by his grace, I see little confident boys that like know that this is their safe home, that they can just be themselves, and they know that they're supported here and cared for here, and they're safe here. They're not judged or criticized here, and they can just be free to speak what they're thinking and their ideas, and they're always going to be received with love. And even though I've messed up so many times and been angry and treated them wrongly, by God's grace, the good outweighs the bad. And so as children, they're so quick to forgive. It's not like destroying the good, you know? It can, if it were to get out of hand and out of control and be the pattern in our home, it could definitely destroy anything. But I don't see them crushed, and it just makes me glad, because that's a big fear for parents, right? Which is probably why we fall into this horrible trap of making our home child-centered. But it's a lie. It's not the resolution, you know? So, oh yeah, I was talking about, I see graduates not want to work. They expect to make all this money right out of college. It's like this entitled, I don't know what made me write that, but there's something about work ethic that's just like disappeared. It's really stinks. You know, I've heard people complain about their pay or not get a job because they can't find one in their major, and just be unemployed for however long because they can't find a job that they want. It's like, I respect someone more that will get a job delivering pizzas or working at McDonald's or whatever because they need to pay their bills and continue looking for a job in their major, but work and provide for your family and pay your bills. You know, like, it's just so different mentality, and it's a bad time of life to learn that lesson at that point, that these jobs shouldn't be beneath you just because you have a college degree. I remember this guy that I went to school with. He was a music major, so was I, and he graduated, and I dropped out, got married, I started a career, and I was making great money even without a degree. And then shortly after I got pregnant, quit, came home. But while I was working, I remember going to the rental video store back in the day before Netflix, and he was working there, and I thought, oh, what happened? And like I asked him, I was like, so how come you're working here? And he said, I couldn't find a job with the music. And I left there thinking, I respect that. I respect that. At least he's working and, has the self-respect, enough self-respect that he's going to provide for his family and take care of himself and pay for his bills and not think he's too good to work at a Hollywood video. So, I don't know. I don't see that anymore. The selfie things was cracking me up. It's weird to take selfies all the time. Yeah, it's very weird. I remember an old friend that friended me on Facebook, and I like clicked on her photos, and I'm not kidding you, every single picture was her, like that. And I just had to like laugh. I'm like, there's a psychological problem here. Like, what is this? What is the matter? So weird. And this is a random thought, talking about the American Dolls thing was very interesting, about the history behind each doll, the little booklets that they come with and tell their story, and how the hardships used to be so much more real and character building with the originals, and now it's like drama at school or whatever it was, I can't remember. And then Finding Dory. You guys have heard me talk about Nemo before. Finding Nemo, he is a punk. He totally is a punk. His attitude stinks. I cannot stand that they made such a disrespectful little character for Disney movies. But, not the first bad Disney character, by the way. But in Finding Dory, which again, I love Finding Nemo, the movie, it's great. I just look a little deeper into it now as a parent. Finding Dory, same thing. I think it's a perfect example of a child-centered home. The way that her parents talked to her revealed what Hollywood, or what we as a culture think perfect parenthood should be. And I'm not talking about their child's missing, they're desperate to find her. That's different. I'm talking about the way they talked to her when she was little. And like, I don't know, there was just something that didn't strike me right. But anyway, I just have like 3 or 4 more things that I wrote here. So, paying our kids for work, totally agree. Somebody asked on one of my live Q&As when, to start doing that, and when to like reinforce chores and stuff. When they are little, like 3 and 4 and 5, I don't think that, especially if, like, let's say your oldest is only 6, like, I don't think that we should be like really strict about chores until like 7-ish. Definitely teach them, but I think that it should be a fun, joyful task. Like, we're doing this together, you're helping mommy, and brag on them and help them to just feel so good about their performance. As far as like working and paying for them to do their work, paying them to do their work with a good attitude and good performance, I would wait till like 8-ish years old, I don't know. But that's just me, I just don't think that we should make them hate work when they're little. We should make them love helping us and love working as a family together and being productive together, And then our kids need to be bored. Oh yeah, I made a whole video about that. Our kids need to be bored. They need to figure out how to entertain themselves, and they need that opportunity to be spontaneously creative and just figure it out. But I also am a fan of having structure throughout the day so that they're not just sitting around doing nothing all day, because idleness can lead to sin. So yes, boredom is good. Go figure it out, be creative. But as parents, let's have some sort of structure and routine in our day where it's like breakfast and devotional time and clean up, get dressed, do school, break time, let's read, like have structure in your day. I think that's healthy and good, and they want that.